you think?
Not intentionally.
No.
I could see it after the fact, that there's, rougher upbringings. I'm thinking of Mickey Ward, James Atkins from Breakdown, and of course John Willis. But I don't know. I think, for instance, when I started Irish Thunder with Mickey Ward, I didn't know there was a book there.
Okay.
It's like, there's somebody's story, but you don't know just how deep it goes, and if you'll be able to expound upon themes for 80 to 100,000 words or something like that. And the same is true with John. There's that little hook line where there's a white guy in an Asian gang. You go, ooh, that's fascinating. But then what are the details that are going to fill the pages? And that becomes the challenge. But to begin with, I'm sort of just presented with a story that seems like there's a kernel, there's something that might grow.
So do they usually come to you?
Nope, I went to Mickey. Really just because the idea popped into my head. I wanted to write a book.
Okay.
For Breakdown, I went to James Atkins after somebody saw a story about him in the Globe.
Yep.
That does sound like a Friday Night Lights kind of a story. I like that book, but it didn't sell. And then, and John Willis was handed to me on a silver platter. It was, when the movie deal was in place, my manager, Matt Valentinas, came to me and said, "Do you want to write the book while they were writing a movie?" And I said, "Sure, I'll give that a shot." And the opportunity to meet with John was really important to me. I don't think I could have done the book if I didn't have, I don't know, those types of things. But anything that would go to John goes to the government. Why did he agree to do the movie and do the book? And it's not because of the money, because there isn't any for him. I think it has to do with ego and wanting to. Like, for instance, Matt told me that John's read the book and he likes it enough. He said, I don't know if he really did, but Matt said he likes it enough.
Okay.
But it makes him out to be a bad guy.
And you think so?
I didn't think it made him out to be any worse than what somebody who sells drugs is. I mean, I think he wanted to set the record straight, and I thought I did for him. Not much about the Chinese culture, other than the way we sort of just look upon it from the outside and say they respect their elders, they're very loyal, they're very just respectful and loyal, and there's a closeness in that community, in that culture. That's what I look at from the outside.
Right.
I think John likes that idea, but he learned it from a gang culture, which kind of just morphs it into something less than that. Because loyalty is loyalty. Now, John would say there's a line at some point where somebody disrespects you, and that could be, some joke that doesn't go over well. That could be, a fib as opposed to an outright lie. It could be any number of things that he determines for himself. You've now disrespected me. I no longer need to be loyal to you. You're no longer my brother. That kind of stuff. I see it kind of in a warped sense. But I just thought that, so I was raised Catholic, so I'm listening to Jesus, and he's peace-loving and all the rest. And John has rationalizations for all his violence. I also know that in all spirituality, you're supposed to be kind to people. So he's selling drugs, which ultimately is not very kind to those people whose lives are ruined. But he'll tell you that's on them. That's their weakness. He's a businessman. If he were going to sell widgets, he'd be really good at it. If he just happens to be selling drugs. So he's able to separate, his morality, his professed morality, with what his real actions are on a given day. And that's what I kind of debated with him. I debated it, but I was really just trying to pull more out. I was trying to figure out, does he have an answer for everything? And he really does. It's black and white.
The thing leaves in this kind of loyalty, and the thing is
brotherhood above
family.
Wow.
To the point that he didn't make it up. That's why it's so strong.
Yep.
I could see you were like, wow, he's got an answer for everything. It's like, yeah, it's because it's there. It's kind of there.
I laugh because you say it's still in you, and you're sort of like fighting against it. That's me with Catholicism. It's like, I'm not really a Catholic anymore. Too many answers that they are not able to provide. Too many things that they told me were true that are not true. And so I've kind of pushed it away. But I can't get rid of it. It's there. It's something when you ask questions and you have to sort of like phrase a thought. because the first thought when you asked that question was I want them to be entertained. You know,
Yeah.
I do want them to be interested. I think I'd like the reader to share my fascination with another world, because that's what I was raised, kind of like middle to upper middle class, and that's the world I walked in. I had a 10-speed bike, and I had shoes, and went out to dinner and learned how to play golf and all that kind of stuff. And I have met people who have lived in a very different world, and so for me to get to be able to open the door a little bit and peek inside, has been the fascination. So I'm hoping that people like me will read the book and be introduced to this world and be interested in it.
Right.
And the people who have been brought up in tougher circumstances, I don't know if there's a message for them there other than don't do what he did. You know, it's not like it came out worse.
Yeah.
There was no rehab going on. He made connections in jail so that when he came out he could sell marijuana, and then the next time he went in he came out and was selling OxyContin, and our jail system's not working.
Chinatown gangs.
I didn't want to put it out there like that if I didn't know it was true, but what I was telling friends and family was that I felt like I've written, by accident, the definitive history of the Chinese gang power struggle from the
70s.
years that I was aware of.
Right.
Because
Stephen Say's in this book a lot. So I wasn't expecting to see him.
And that sort of was like the research brought me. And so, like when I was writing the Mickey Ward book, I went off on a fair number of tangents that I thought were interesting, and the publisher took those things out because they were going too far away. Not to bore you, but like there was one story where Mickey fought a guy who was trained by his trainer was blind. And I thought, well,
that's pretty cool.
So then I find out that trainer had been a boxer. There was an illegal substance on the other guy's gloves that blinded him. He spent the better part of 9 years in a closet, depressed. And then finally the neighborhood kid and whatnot built him a ring in his backyard. He came out and started training them.